Hey everyone, it's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. And since it's Tuesday, that means it is time for Tuesdays with Ted. And my name is Floyd Poenitz, president of SDA Kinship International. And Tuesdays is the day that I have dedicated to sharing a little video letter with President of the General Conference, Ted Wilson. Since he doesn't respond to me, I thought I'd make a video and share it with everyone else so that you too can get the blessing and understanding of what we're talking about. So I invite you to grab your favorite drink, your cup of postum or water or whatever. And mine is in my SDA Kinship tumbler here. And take a drink and relax and share this time with us. It's been a kind of a crazy week since we talked last. A lot has come out. Some of the things I'll talk about probably next week. The article in the Spectrum magazine about Coming Out Ministries and Mike Carducci, one of the co-founders of the organization, and a report of what one of the young counselees reported about their interaction with him. If you haven't already seen that, I invite you to go to Spectrum Magazine on the web. It's spectrummagazine.org and read their article about the Coming Out Ministries. The article, can't think of the name exactly. It's about I was a waterfall, he was a rock, something like that. But it's a very powerful article. And we can talk about that next week. But this week I wanted to share just a little bit about the clobber texts. I keep saying that we're going to discuss the clobber texts later on. And those are the 6 or 7 texts that are traditionally used to clobber the LGBTQ community, the ones that are used to say that they're a sin or an abomination, etc., etc. I don't think that anyone has ever actually won a discussion or an argument using Bible texts and talking about that. The discussion goes on and on because it is up for interpretation and everyone reads and understands text differently. That's why we have tens of thousands of denominations, Christian denominations around the world, that everyone thinks they're right and read the text differently. The precept or the concept rather that just overarches and is more important than all these texts of do we do this and can we do this and how do we do that is love. God's love. God loves us unconditionally and he wants to have a relationship with us. And that's why Jesus came down to earth, to show what God is really like and to show this relationship and what this relationship with the God, with the higher power can actually be. And I'm not going to argue text with you. You're going to read them and understand them the way you feel that you need to understand them, and I'm going to read them the same way that I understand them. But the texts in 1 Corinthians and in Romans are the two that are the New Testament texts and the ones that cause the most question in Christian minds. And so what I encourage you to do is actually get a parallel Bible, a Bible that has several different versions side by side so you can read the text, because not every version is going to read exactly the same. And some of that is the interpretation of the people that wrote it, and some of it is the words that they use and how they resonate with you. But I want to go back to the year 1929. That's when the committee was formed and tasked with the objective of creating a new version of the Bible, a new translation. Up until then, the King James version was the standard, and that's the gold standard that everyone used. And often, I grew up with Adventists saying, if it's not in the King James, you're reading the wrong Bible. But today, not too many people actually read the King James just because the wording is a little archaic and hard to understand. So in 1929, the committee started translating, reinterpreting the Bible into a more modern language and understanding. And that was actually published then in 1946. And it was much easier to understand. But there were two words in the original text that they were translating from, and one was arsenokoitai and the other was malakos. These two terms that Paul used when he wrote that are not words that are known really today or understood exactly what they mean. And so it was only conjecture that they, after studying, they decided to put these words together and combine them and create the word. Because homosexual, as far as an orientation, was a brand new thing in the English language at that time. And so they stuck it into the Bible saying, I think these words where it says effeminate or which actually meant pedophilia a little bit, some of that was actually translated into homosexual. The authors weren't really familiar with the term homosexual. So it was stuck in the Bible in 1946, and all the Bibles that came after that were using that as their gold standard translation. And so the word homosexual got stuck into the Bible for the very first time in 1946. So that's why I say take one of these parallel Bibles, read them, and see what, side by side what they actually say. And if you can, go back and study what the words malakos and malakoi and arsenokoitai actually mean, and how they don't translate into the concept that we know today as homosexual or homosexual orientation. There are several people out there on the internet. Kathy Baldock, for example, does some great videos on the meaning and how those words came to be used and mistranslated into the word homosexual. And that brings me to my final point today, is there's a new movie out called 1946, The Mistranslation of the Bible. So if you can go to the website, you can download it. Actually not download it, but you can rent it for $12.95 on the website and watch it. It's called, the URL is 1946themovie.com. So 1946, the numbers, themovie.com. And I encourage you to watch it. One of our famous SDA pastors actually has a cameo appearance in the movie, so that might be incentive for you to watch it. But watch it with an open heart, open mind, and see what you think with the arguments of finding out that the words that were used in the RSV were not actually meaning homosexual. And I would love to hear from you, and tell me your thoughts after watching the movie. Please don't send me comments without watching the movie and knowing what it's about and condemning it or something. Please do yourself a favor, do me a favor, watch the movie, and then send me some email, info@sdakinship.org, and I'll get that, and I'll be happy to respond to you and dialogue with you. And I encourage you to share that movie with your friends, with your pastor, with your elders. And Ted Wilson, I encourage you, no one will know. You can do it in the privacy of your home in secret, and no one will know that you watched the movie. So go to 1946themovie.com, download it. You and Nancy can sit together, watch the movie, and I would love for you to tell me what you think of it. Or preach about it at one of your next sermons or something. I'm sure we'll hear about it. But it does explain why the homosexual community does not see being homosexual or even homosexual relationships as any type of sin or abomination. The things that are talked about in the Bible have nothing to do, and I repeat, nothing to do with homosexuality. They talk about rape, non-consensual sex, temple prostitution, things like that, but none of it is a loving relationship between two individuals. Again, those of you who are watching, remember that God loves you unconditionally, just as you are, and take a sip of your Postum or favorite beverage here. Chill out and have a wonderful Tuesday. And if you want to know more about SDA Kinship, you can go to the website, sdakinship.org. And as I said, you can email me, info@sdakinship.org, and I'll be happy to respond personally to you. There's also social media, the @ SDA Kinship, and would love to have you follow us. And while you're on the internet, go and check out that Spectrum Magazine article about Coming Out Ministries. And we definitely do not want the church to have a repeat of the Colin Cook and the Quest Ministry fiasco that it promoted back in the several years ago. So, okay, thanks. Have a great one. Talk to you next Tuesday with a new Tuesdays with Ted. Is there anybody